Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. I am Dr. Maryam Hanif Khattar from the Aga Khan University. It is my privilege and honor to welcome you all to the opening ceremony of the 44th Annual Conference, Pakistan Society of Anesthesiologists, Karachi chapter. Tonight, we gather to celebrate professional achievements, professional growth, and our collaboration in improving the healthcare system and advancing the field of anesthesiology. This year's conference theme, Anesthesia, Global Standards and Local Solutions, reflects our collective aspiration to bridge the international standards with the realities and needs of the local healthcare system. So welcome everyone. May I kindly request everyone to please be seated. We will be beginning with the recitation of the Holy Quran.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I request everyone to please rise for the national anthem. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Please take your seats. To formally welcome all our guests and participants, I would now like to invite to the stage the President of PSA Karachi and the Chairperson Organizing Committee, respected Dr. Dilu Raja. Sir, please come on stage. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Honorable Chief Guest, Mr. Nihal Hashmi, Governor of Sindh, respected guest of honor, Professor Amjad Siraj Memon, Vice Chancellor, Jinnah Sindh Medical University, distinguished guests, senior and junior colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you all on the occasion of 44th Annual Conference organized by Pakistan Society of Anesthesiologists, Karachi, in collaboration with PSA Center. The theme of this year's conference is Anesthesia, Global Standards and Local Solutions. This theme emphasizes to provide framework with minimum standard protocols in the anesthetic management without compromising patient safety, while keeping in the view guidelines provided by international organizations like WHO, World Federation of Societies of Anesthesiology, American Society of Anesthesiologists, European Society of Anesthesiology and Intensive Care, which provide ideal framework for comprehensive anesthesia care. I am also privileged to welcome our distinguished guests, speakers from across Pakistan, who have joined us, share their knowledge, experience, and insights. Their participation enriched our academic sessions and reflects the strength and unity of anesthesia community nationwide. We are also honored to have participants and esteemed guests from across the country joining us today. We are also collaborated with PSA Karachi is proud to be most vibrant and active society, continuously striving for the academic and professional growth of anesthesiologists. One of our flagship activities in the lecture series, which provides a platform for continuous medical education since May 2022, keeping our members updated with the latest advancement and practice in the anesthesia and critical care. We also commemorate important global health days every year. We observe World Sepsis Day on 13 September, raising awareness about sepsis in the early recognition and timely management areas where anesthesiologists plays a crucial role in saving lives. Similarly, also celebrate World Anesthesia Day on 16 October, highlighting the historical significance and modern day impact of our specialty on global health system. We are always passionate to celebrate achievements of our seniors, colleagues on national and international levels. Recently, a small gathering was arranged on May 6 to give tributes to our colleagues for obtaining positions in WSFA and national levels. PSA always support our juniors to present papers in the international conference and recently have sponsored 5 candidates in WFSA conference in Morocco. We have also collaborated with International Journal of Anesthesia and Critical Care for the publishing of Best Abstract awarded in the conference. Pakistan Society of Anesthesiologists takes pride in recognizing the lifetime contribution of our senior anesthesiologists who have dedicated their careers in the development of our specialty. Every year, PSA confers the Lifetime Achievements Award to deserving anesthesiologists in honor of their outstanding services, leadership, mentorship, and relentless efforts in advancing anesthesia in Pakistan. This prestigious award is a token of our gratitude and respect to their lifelong commitment. This annual conference is testament to our commitment to academic excellence in preparation for this event. We successfully conducted 21 pre-conference workshops, 17 for doctors and 4 for allied health professionals. These workshops provide valuable hands-on training and skill enhancement in various areas of anesthesia and critical care. I extend my sincere thanks to workshop committee for their hard work, dedication, and excellent organization of this session, which greatly contribute to capacity building in our field. I would also like to express my heartfelt gratitude to the scientific committee for formulating an excellent academic program and to the organizing committee for their tireless efforts in making this event a successful. A special note of thanks to Professor Tipu Sultan, Professor Saida Haider, and Professor Nurul Haq and all other seniors for their continuous support and guidance. Lastly, I sincerely appreciate the cooperation of pharmaceutical industry in partnering with us to make this conference possible. I hope the coming days of this conference will be filled with enriching academic activities that will enhance your knowledge and skill, benefiting both our profession and the patient we serve. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for such inspiring words. I would like to invite the General Secretary of PSA Karachi and Organizing Committee member, one of the most active members, as you all know, Dr. Syed Talal Ahmed. Please, sir.
Thank you so much, Maria. Respected Chief Guest, Honorable Governor of Sindh, Mr. Nihal Hashmi Sahab, Guest of Honor, Vice Chancellor, Jinnah Sindh Medical University, Professor Amjad Siraj Memon, Patron PSA Center, Professor Tipu Sultan, Patron PSA Karachi, Professor Saida Haider, President PSA Center, Professor Rana Altaf, and President PSA Karachi, Dr. Dilu Raja, members of the Cabinet and Executive Committee, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and a very good evening to all of you. I am honored to present the annual report of Pakistan Society of Anesthesiologists, Karachi for the year 2025 and 2026. The objectives of PSA are to make available the highest standards of anesthesia, pain, trauma management, and resuscitation. To have competent anesthesiologists, we need to have good training program and to have a continued medical education. PSA Karachi's commitment to academic excellence and professional development has remained steadfast during this period. Efforts such as PSA Karachi online lecture series started back in 2022, spearheaded by Dr. Asma, have continued to thrive throughout 2025 and still running in 2026, facilitating knowledge and dissemination on a global scale. The primary goal was to educate the anesthesia community, especially the trainees, with evidence-based practices, recent guidelines, and practical applications of their existing knowledge on different topics in the anesthesia, critical care, pain management. We are currently running the season 9 of online lecture series with 21 lectures done up till now in this and the last season, each drawing more than 60 participants. These sessions have been uploaded on our YouTube channels, ensuring accessibility and knowledge dissemination beyond geographical boundaries. We worked on improving communication with the existing members through regular newsletters, emails, social media, and website updates. Since last year, PSA Karachi released 2 newsletters, and the first edition of 2026 has already been released this month, which were meticulously put together and contain a lot of useful information covering a wide range of topics relevant to anesthesiological interest and professional development. In our commitment to raising awareness about critical health care issues, we observed World Sepsis Day in September 2025 and World Anesthesia Day in October 2025 with maximum participation from all of our members. All of these events were well attended and received positive feedback from the participants. Ladies and gentlemen, now to just brief about this annual conference, we had several formal and informal meetings to organize this academic activity. For this conference in particular, we conducted 6 general meetings and ensured all activities were meticulously planned. As you know, the theme of this year's conference is Anesthesia, Global Standard and Local Solution addresses the central tension in modern medicine. How to maintain world-class safety standards while operating in a resource-limited settings. As a part of our pre-conference activities, we organized 21 workshops under the banner of PSA Karachi in collaboration with different institutes across Karachi, and 1 post-conference workshop which will be held in one of the biggest institutes in Karachi. The allied health professionals also enthusiastically arranged 4 workshops across different institutes of the city as a part of a pre-conference workshop. All of these workshops were very well attended and received enthusiastic response from the residents. We have upheld our tradition of maintaining a very nominal registration fee, making a society accessible to all. Despite the financial challenges, we have been able to gather many colleagues for this academic purpose. PSA Karachi is one of the few societies in the country that actively promotes research at junior level. We recognize and celebrate excellence by awarding a gold medal to trainees for the outstanding research contribution, along with the prize money for the second and third runner-ups in both free paper and poster presentations. Tomorrow and day after tomorrow, we will have full conference sessions, which will include a consensus conference, panel discussions, formal lectures, pro-con sessions, free paper and poster presentation for residents and faculty researchers. Also, for the first time, PSA Karachi has introduced a Jupari-style quiz challenge for the residents. I hope all of you will enjoy the next 2 days by sharing and learning the science of anesthesia. I am thankful to the speakers, experts, panelists, and moderators for coming here and sharing their expertise, experience, knowledge, and skills with us. Thank you all. Enjoy the evening.
So ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to move to one of the most prestigious moments of the evening, the presentation of Lifetime Achievement Award. Every profession, as we know, is strengthened by individuals whose dedication, lifetime hard work, leadership, and contributions leave a lasting impact on future generations. This evening, PSA Karachi proudly recognizes and honors distinguished personalities for their remarkable services to the field of anesthesia. So for the first award, I would like to call upon the stage Professor Dr. Gohar Afshan for reading the citation for the first award recipient.
So it's my privilege and honor to present this citation for a truly living legend, Professor Emeritus Dr. Salman Waris, who has devoted his life not only to the field of anesthesiology, but also to the institution building and shaping future generation of doctors through his passion for teaching and mentorship. Professor Dr. Salman Waris is graduated from Nishtar Medical College in 1982 and began his distinguished medical career in anesthesiology. He completed his MCPS in anesthesiology in 1984, earned his diploma in anesthesia in 1985, and became the first FCPS postgraduate resident in anesthesiology in the province of Punjab, completing his FCPS in 1993. Through exceptional dedication, academic excellence, and determination, he advanced rapidly in his career and was appointed professor in 1999 at Nishtar Medical College. As a chairman of the Department of Anesthesiology at Nishtar Medical University, he transformed a modest 5-bed ICU into a modern 37-bed critical care unit equipped with the advanced facilities and the robust clinical system. He also established the first pain management center in Multan, significantly improving the quality of care for patients suffering from pain, especially the cancer pain. His visionary leadership was further recognized when he became the first registrar of the Nishtar Medical University. Today, he holds the unique distinction of being the only professor emeritus at the university, Nishtar Medical, Multan. Education and mentorship have always remained at the heart of Dr. Waris' mission. He has made extraordinary contributions to the postgraduate medical education through his role as examiner, mentor, general secretary, and later as a dean of the Faculty of Anesthesiology at the College of Physicians and Surgeons, Pakistan. He played a key role in modernizing examination system and introducing several skill-based assessment, particularly in clinical examination in anesthesiology when he was dean at the CPSP. Over the years, he has personally trained more than 400 postgraduate students, 400, many of whom now serve as respected professors, consultants, and specialists in Pakistan and abroad. A committed researcher as well, Dr. Waris has published many papers in national and international journals, and beyond academics, he also been a strong advocate for the doctor's right and the welfare through his leadership and active involvement in the Pakistan Medical Association. After a distinguished career spanning several decades, he retired in 2018. However, his commitment to medicine and education continued through his role as a professor of anesthesiology at Multan Medical and Dental College, where he continues to inspire and mentor future generation of physicians. Professor Waris' life reflection, dedication, leadership, compassion, and service. He has built institutions, mentored generations, and made an enduring contribution to healthcare, especially in anesthesiology and the critical care in Pakistan. On a personal note, Dr. Waris enjoys a fulfilling family life with his exceptionally talented wife, Shafaq, and their 4 children, and 3 sons, all of whom are doctors. So 1 daughter, 3 sons, all of doctors. And now they all are practicing in medical professions. As a passionate traveler, he has explored many countries across the globe. Today, we are deeply honored to celebrate the remarkable contribution of Professor Salman Waris, an exceptional leader in anesthesiology, inspiring teacher and mentor, a dedicated physician, a visionary, and above all, a very humble and generous human being. Dr. Salman Waris. Please join me in honoring Professor Salman Waris with Lifetime Achievement Awards.
I would like to now invite Dr. Asma Abdul Salam on stage for reading the citation for the next Lifetime Achievement Award. Over to you, Dr. Asma.
So it is my privilege and a moment of immense pride to stand before you today as we celebrate the remarkable life and achievements of an inspiring teacher, a pioneering clinician, and above all, a humble human being, Professor Dr. Muhammad Hamid. Tonight, as we present the Lifetime Achievement Award, we are not merely honoring years of service, we are honoring a legacy that transformed the landscape of cardiothoracic anesthesia, acute pain management, and anesthesiology in Pakistan. Every great journey begins with a dream, and Dr. Hamid's journey began here in Karachi, a city that shaped his resilience, intellect, and commitment to excellence. Born and raised in Karachi, he completed his early education before attending the prestigious DJ Science College. From there, he entered one of the most respected medical institutions in the country, Dow Medical College. Perhaps what makes Dr. Hamid exceptional is not simply what he achieved personally, is what he enabled others to achieve. Even during his student years, those around him recognized the qualities that would later define his career: discipline, humility, intellectual curiosity, and unwavering commitment to patient care. Soon after graduation, Dr. Hamid embarked on a journey that would take him across continents in pursuit of excellence. He secured a pre-med residency position at Brookdale University Hospital, where he began his anesthesia residency program in the United States. At a time when international opportunities were difficult to secure and even harder to sustain, he excelled through sheer hard work and determination. But for Dr. Hamid, excellence was never a destination. It was a continuous pursuit. After completing residency training, he matched at the world's renowned Cleveland Clinic Foundation to pursue a higher competitive fellowship in cardiothoracic anesthesiology. Cleveland Clinic is ranked number 3 in cardiology, heart, and vascular surgery at the United States. At Cleveland, he was trained among global leaders in cardiac anesthesia and developed expertise that very few possessed at that time in Pakistan. The person who is standing next to him is Dr. Fauzi Estefanis, who founded the first cardiothoracic anesthesia department in the world. And yet, perhaps the most defining moment of his career was not when he went abroad, but when he chose to come back home, Pakistan. In the year 2000, despite having promising opportunities internationally and in the United States, Dr. Hamid returned to Pakistan with a mission to serve his country and help establish standardized, evidence-based cardiothoracic services in Pakistan. He joined Aga Khan University Hospital, where he would go on to dedicate the decades of his life. Over the years, Dr. Hamid became synonymous with excellence in cardiothoracic anesthesia. One of his landmark achievements was the establishment of a structured pediatric congenital heart program at AKU, among the very first of its kind in Pakistan. This was not simply the creation of another clinical service, it was building of hope for countless children born with congenital heart diseases and their families. Dr. Hamid did not stop there. His expertise and compassion crossed borders, where he participated in a medical mission to the French Medical Institute for Children, helping establish a congenital heart surgery program in Kabul, Afghanistan. He also trained their anesthesiologists and technicians, demonstrating his belief that knowledge should transcend geography and politics. At a time when acute pain services were still evolving in Pakistan, Dr. Hamid contributed significantly to advancing structured and patient-centered post-operative pain management. He's among the pioneers in establishing one of the country's earliest acute pain management services at Aga Khan University Hospital, introduced patient-controlled IV analgesia technique and practices, and developed educational and quality assurances in acute pain management. Ladies and gentlemen, many people practice medicine. Some improve systems, but very few redefine an entire field. Professor Dr. Hamid is one of those rare individuals. Dr. Hamid has actively contributed to the humanitarian healthcare through his work with Smile Train since 2017, providing consultancy for the US-based organization providing free lip and palate surgeries in Pakistan. His role includes hospital site evaluations, professional training, and conducting workshops across Pakistan to strengthen the cleft lip services. And in recognition of his contributions, he was appointed as a member of the Smile Train Medical Advisory Council for Pakistan and the Middle East and North Africa, MENA-MAC region in 2024. From 2007 to 2011, he served as director of the Cardiothoracic Anesthesia Fellowship Program at Aga Khan University Hospital, where he played a central role in shaping future specialists. Since 2011, he has served as CPSP examiner for Cardiothoracic Anesthesia Fellowship, being one of the faculty members, contributing significantly to the postgraduate medical standards in Pakistan. Leadership is, however, not only measured by titles, it is measured by trusts. And Dr. Hamid has earned that trust and respect of colleagues nationally and internationally. He served as president, Pakistan Society of Anesthesiologists, Karachi chapter from 2019 to 2022, a period that coincided with the unprecedented challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic. During this difficult time for healthcare systems worldwide, he remained actively involved in supporting the academic and professional engagements within the anesthesia community. His calm and steady leadership helped maintain collaboration among colleagues while maintaining and continuing educational and professional activities despite significant limitation imposed by the pandemic. In 2022, he was entrusted with the responsibility of serving as General Secretary of Pakistan Society of Anesthesiologists Center, where he continues to contribute towards strengthening academic initiatives, professional networking, and collaborations among anesthesiologists across Pakistan. His leadership extended to the international organizations as well as other national societies. He's also the president-elect of PACTA, which is the Pakistan Anesthesiologists of the Association of the Cardiothoracic Anesthesiologists. He has been a regular member of the Pakistan Society of Anesthesiologists meetings and has always been present in all of the meetings. His leadership extended to international organizations as well, and he became an executive board member of the South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation and board member of the Asian Society of Cardiothoracic Anesthesia. To date, he has authored more than 75 peer-reviewed research articles, numerous editorials, an international book chapter, and more than 22 peer-reviewed narratives, articles for educational manuals, note series, and his research has been published in internationally recognized journals. Beyond publications, he has delivered more than 90 invited lectures nationally and internationally and represents Pakistan proudly at major academic platforms, including SARCA and postgraduate assemblies at New York. Today, many successful anesthesiologists, cardiac anesthetists across Pakistan carry forward lessons that directly learned and indirectly from Professor Dr. Hamid. This is a true definition of a lifetime achievement. Not merely award publication positions, but lasting impact. Despite these extraordinary accomplishments, those who know Dr. Hamid personally often describe him as not by his titles, but by his humbleness, politeness, and his humility. Behind every great physician is often a family that serves the journey and sacrifices and the vision. Dr. Hamid comes from a remarkable family of doctors. His 2 brothers, 1 sister, 1 nephew, and 2 nieces are doctors. His wife, Dr. Arshiluz Rahman, is a renowned name at the Aga Khan University Hospital and serves as the pediatric nephrologist. His son, an AKU graduate, is now pursuing cardiology fellowship training at Baylor University, while his daughter graduated in dentistry from the University of California, Los Angeles, Medicine Services and Academic Excellence. Professor Dr. Hamid's career reminds us all that excellence and humility can coexist, that leadership means service, that innovation must ultimately improve the patient care, and that true success lies in leaving behind the institution, system, and people better than we found them. On behalf of the colleagues, students, trainees, friends, and countless patients whose lives have been touched by his work, we express our deepest gratitude and admiration. And ladies and gentlemen, please join me in honoring a mentor, a visionary educator, and one of the finest ambassadors of the Pakistan Society of Anesthesiologists, Professor Dr. Mohammad Hamid.
For the presentation of these awards, I would like to call upon the stage Honorable Governor of Sindh, who is our chief guest tonight, Mr. Nihal Hashmi. Please, everyone, welcome Mr. Nihal Hashmi on stage. For receiving the very well-deserved and the very prestigious award, I would like to call upon the stage Dr. Salman Waris. Sir, please join us.
पीछे से डॉक्टर के हामिद की तस्वीर हटाइए।
हाँ, cancel.
डॉक्टर सलमान की तस्वीर लगा दो। डिम करें।
Thank you so much, sir, for inspiring us. For the next award, I would like to call upon the stage my teacher and a very well-known and a very humble person, Dr. Muhammad Hamid. Sir, please join us on stage. Thank you so much, sir, for joining on stage. It is now my honor to introduce our distinguished guest of honor for this evening, Professor Dr. Amjad Siraj Memon, who is the Vice Chancellor of Jinnah Sindh Medical University, a highly respected academician, surgeon, and administrator. Sir, I would like to call you up on the stage for a few words.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Honorable Chief Guest, the Governor of Sindh, distinguished academic leaders, professors, various faculty members from all over Pakistan really in the field of anesthesia. Assalamu alaikum. I'm really very honored to stand here in front of my teachers, Professor Tipu Sultan and Dr. Saida, for giving me the title of the guest of honor. I'm not sure whether I really deserve that. In any case, I know for a fact that Professor Tipu Sultan has a big role in shaping the lives of not only anesthetists but a lot of surgeons as well. The dedication that he proved beyond doubt was witnessed by me when I came back from England in 1997. And that was the only department where things happened like they used to happen in England. The rest of the departments were still struggling to get to those standards. The most important thing that was very inspiring for me as well was that I was the only surgeon who used to come to the hospital at 7:30, but Tipu Sahab ki gaadi usse pehle khadi hoti thi. And at 8 o'clock sharp, he would start a class of the emergency cases that came during the night and would teach them. And I think that was a very big step in shaping the lives of future anesthetists. But it taught me as well that was the only time when our operating list started at 8 o'clock in the government sector, Civil Hospital, Karachi. And I'm really very honored to be here today. I would like to, I'm also invited to a lot of such gatherings and where tributes are presented to very distinguished people who have just received the Lifetime Achievement Awards, and many of them are still, many more names are, I can see them sitting here. Amin Khwaja in NICVD is my class fellow, and so on. So the list is very, very long in anesthesia department. But I would like to, as being an administrator of a university, I would like to bring to your notice a very important thing, which I think this conference, of course, is an academic conference, but it is also makes decisions and recommendations at the end of all conferences. What I would like you to please do is to increase the number of anesthetics positions in the public sector especially. Universities, including our university, is very happy to accommodate. I recently called upon Professor Saida Haider and Professor Safia to our university to help me get more and more anesthetists in the faculty. We are ready to start many programs related with anesthesia, and we have also tried to do something to incentivize younger anesthetists by increasing the financial packages that are, the current status is of course very, very dismal, to be honest, with people who have trained under distinguished people like Professor Hamid and Professor Tipu and Professor Saida and Akhtar Aziz Sahab, and lots and lots of work is being done in SIUT, and it was not possible. I think a surgeon's life is absolutely zero without a good anesthetist. And a tribute to the team that is present in the entire country, who is making a lot of difference. But urge you to pass on this message to College of Physicians as well to increase the number of residency programs. I, as an administrator, promise you that they will get all the financial assistance that my university can provide or other universities can provide. I would also take this opportunity since the Honorable Chief Guest, the Governor of Sindh is here, I have recently moved an application to the Health Department and other departments that I know this might come to some people, might not agree with me, but at 60, really you are at the peak of your career when you retire from your government service. And at that time, when you are able to contribute to making junior people at a level where you were working, they retire. And the law says that they cannot be hired again. And that is a very difficult problem for public universities. Now, I'm also a member of the Pakistan Medical and Dental Council, and I can tell you that the age for the faculty induction, the highest age has been raised to 75 in private sector. But in the public sector, we are struggling. Recently, I moved an application to PMDC where they have given me 2 letters. One is from the barrister that is also on the council, and the other is from the Surgeon General of Pakistan. They have agreed that you should raise the public college's age for faculty induction till 65. But this is the PMDC's route. The government will have to make, sir, I would request you to please look into this matter, because there's a lot of shortage of doctors, especially these anesthesia. I can tell you in JPMC there are only 3 anesthetists which are in the faculty. They have residents, but in a 2,200 bedded hospitals there are only 3 faculty members. There are 22 theaters. They run around the place, and they really cannot manage. And the troublesome times that we have faced, like COVID, the gynecology departments badly needs intensive cares, critical care for pregnant women, young women who die on the doorsteps of the hospital just because of lack of intensive care and anesthesia, intensive care and anesthesia. So I would request you to please support me in this endeavor to raise the age to at least 65 in the public sector, so we can hire excellent people who are available. I thank you all.
Sir, thank you so much for being here and for presentation of Shield. I would once again like to invite our Honorable Chief Guest, Mr. Nihal Hashmi. So I have you on stage once again. To the Honorable Governor of Sindh, Mr. Nihal Hashmi, sir, I would like for you to say a few words.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Anhamdu salli ala Rasulihil Kareem. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Professor Tipu Sultan Sahab, Dr. Dillu Raja Sahab, Sayyid Talal Ahmed Sahab, Azhar Rahman Sahab, Amin Khwaja Sahab from Lahore, Akhtar Aziz Sahab and Akhtar Wahid Sahab, Shahida Khwaja Sahaba from Lahore, Gohar Afsha Sahab, the recipient, Gohar Afsha Sahiba, I just heard you. Amjad Siraz Sahab, امجد سراج میمن صاحب, پروفیسر نور الحق صاحب, سجاد میمن صاحب, مختار باقی صاحب, ڈاکٹر طلعت ٹیپو صاحبہ, دو آئی ڈونٹ وانٹ ٹو ٹیک نیم, تو بھابھی ہیں ہماری, اور فرجال صاحب, ینگ اینستھیسسٹ فرجال صاحب, سعیدہ حیدر صاحبہ, صاحبہ ہے یا صاحب ہیں؟ صاحبہ ہیں. رانا الطاف صاحب اور صاحبہ بوتھ, میں ڈر گیا ہوں. سلمان وارث صاحب, حامد صاحب تو ہیں, ابھی ان کو میں ملا ہوں. خواتین و حضرات, طب کے پیشے سے تعلق رکھنے والے معزز دوستوں, السلام علیکم. The lady who was before me here said چند لفظ بولے, few words. تو سلام کے بعد few words ختم ہو گیا. اب اجازت ہے تو میں واپس آ جاؤں یا کنٹینیو کروں؟ تو جب کوئی میرے جیسے وکیل کو آپ few words بولیں گی تو پھر ناراض ہو جاتا ہے. وکیل کا کام ہے بولنا, آپ کا کام ہے کچھ اور, ہمارے علاج کرنا. انہوں نے علاج تو میرا کر دیا, یہ بول کر کے بولتی بند کروا دی کہ 2 لفظ میں آپ واپس آ جائیں. بٹ ہم بھی کہاں باز آنے والے ہیں, ہم تو جیل سے بھی واپس آ کے گورنر بن جاتے ہیں. ہم بولتے ہیں اور بولتے ہیں. کچھ لوگ بولتے ہیں غلط بولتے ہو, کچھ کہتے ہیں بہت اچھا بولتے ہو. ابھی جب میں اینستھیسیا کو دیکھ رہا تھا, اور اب میں اردو میں بول رہا ہوں, اتفاق دیکھیں اتنی اچھی انگلش میں نے تقاریر سنی. مجھے گھمنڈ تھا اپنے انگلش پہ کہ ہم وکیل ہیں میلارڈ. ہم امجد سراج صاحب کے بڑے بھائی ارشد سراج صاحب کے ساتھ ہم بیٹھ کے روزانہ بار روم میں ساتھ ہمارا چیئر ہوتا ہے, ٹوٹا ایکسچینج کرتے ہیں. آپ کے بھائی صاحب چین اسموکر ہیں. تو اور ایک بات آپ کو اور بتاؤں, کئی ڈاکٹر آ کے بولتے ڈونٹ اسموک سگریٹ, اٹ از انجریس ٹو دا ہیلتھ. اب 2 میرے ایسے 3 بیٹھے ہوئے جن کے سامنے وہ ایڈمٹ نہیں کرنا چاہتا ہوں اپنی گلٹ کو. ہماری فیملیز میں اس کو برا سمجھا جاتا ہے. آپ جتنے عمر کے بھی پہنچ جائیں, آپ یہ ایڈمٹ نہیں کریں گے کہ آپ حقہ پانی کے ساتھ ہیں. بہرحال تو امجد صاحب, آپ سے زیادہ اچھا ہیلتھ ارشد بھائی کا ہے. تو میں ڈاکٹرز کی اس بات سے ڈس ایگری کرتا ہوں. میرا ایک دوست ہے کلاس 6 سے پیتا ہے, بجا لیں تالی بجائیں, اچھی بات کر رہے ہیں آپ. کلاس 6 سے پی رہا ہے, آج 75 سال کا, سگریٹ پی رہا ہے, نہ کبھی بیمار ہوتا ہے نہ کھانستا ہے. اور وہ کل ہی پرسوں کسی کو کہنے لگا تمہارے ابا کب انتقال ہوا؟ انہوں نے کہا 72 سال کی عمر تک جیے. کہ لیں میں بیٹا 76 کا ہوں. تو یہ تو لائٹر موڈ میں کہا. میں جب اینستھیسیا دیکھ رہا تھا تو مجھے خیال آیا اس کے معنی پتہ کرو. معنی پتہ کیا تو بے ہوشی. میں نے کہا یہ تو ہمیں بے ہوش کر دیتے ہیں, یہ وہ والے طبقہ بیٹھے ہوئے, میں ڈرا ہوا ہوں آپ لوگوں سے. اور دوسرا اس کے معنی بے حسی بھی ہے. تو میں چاہتا ہوں کہ جو ہمارے اندر بے حسی آ گئی ہے قومی زندگی میں, اس کو آپ دور کریں. آئی ہیو بین انفارم دیٹ دس از دا 44th آپ کی جو پاکستان سوسائٹی آف اینستھیسٹ کی کانفرنس ہے, اور کل اور پرسوں 2 دن اور ہوگا یہ. آئی ایم شیور اس میں بہت اچھی معلوماتی باتیں ہوں گی, سائنٹیفک کانفرنس ہوگا. میں پوچھتا رہا ڈاکٹر نور الحق صاحب سے کہ کوئی فارینر ہے اس میں, تو پھر میں اپنی انگلش کو بھی اسٹارٹ کروں. بٹ دیر از نو فارینر. اگر آپ لاہور والوں کو فارینر سمجھ رہے ہیں تو یہ آپ کی غلطی, ان کی نہیں ہے. تو ادروائز چٹا رنگ کوئی نہیں ہے اور دیگر اور بھی کوئی لوگ نہیں ہیں. تو یہ جو کانفرنس ہے, اور جو جس طرح سے ابھی امجد صاحب نے ایکسپریس کیا اینستھیسیا کی امپورٹنس کو, انہوں نے بتایا, سمجھایا کہ اینستھیسیا کے بغیر زندگی میں کتنی, خاص کر کے مریض جو ہے وہ کن مراحل سے گزرتا ہے. اور سرجن کو کتنا سہارا اور ڈھارس مل جاتا ہے انستھیسیا سے. کئی وقتوں میں ایسا ہوتا ہے کہ جب آج سے پہلے جب انستھیسیا اتنا ایڈوانس فارم میں نہیں ہوگا, میں نے ایک بار ٹیپو بھائی سے پوچھا, میں نے کہا انستھیسیا کے معنی کیا ہے؟ تو انہوں نے کہا یہ ان کو شاید یاد نہیں ہوگا, مجھے یاد ہے ہم کالج میں تھے. انہوں نے کہا کہ اچھا میں بائی دا وے آرٹس کا آدمی ہوں, آئی ہیو نو نالج اباؤٹ سائنس, بالکل سائنس سے میں فارغ التحصیل ہوں. تو انہوں نے کہا میاں کیا سمجھتے ہو کہ رومال پہ کلوروفارم لگا کر کے ناک پہ رکھ دیا, اس کو انستھیسیا کہتے ہیں؟ میں نے آج تک تو ہم نے یہی سمجھا ہے, فلموں میں بھی یہی دیکھا ہے. تو پھر انہوں نے ایکسپلین کیا, نہیں انستھیسیا ایک بہت ہی وائڈ سبجیکٹ ہے. اور میں پھر تصور کر رہا ہوں کہ جس زمانے میں انستھیسیا ڈیولپ نہیں ہوگا, اس زمانے میں کئی مریض ایسے ہوں گے کہ آپریشن تھیٹر سے نکل کے بھاگ جاتے ہوں گے خوف سے کہ اس کے بعد کیا ہو سکتا ہے اور کیا نہ ہو سکتا ہو. اور جس طرح سے آپ کی یہ ٹیکنالوجی نے اور آپ کی یہ سبجیکٹ نے ترقی کی, تو آج ماشاءاللہ سے پاکستان میں بھی ہارٹ ٹرانسپلانٹ, کیا کہتے ہیں, ہارٹ ٹرانسپلانٹ ہوتا ہے. پاکستان میں بھی کڈنی کا ٹرانسپلانٹ ہو رہا ہے, اور بڑے بڑے میجر آپریشنس آپ کر رہے ہیں. اور طب کے شعبے میں پہلے بھی پاکستان میں بڑے نامور ڈاکٹرز رہے ہیں, بہت نامور ڈاکٹرز. پاکستان ہیز پروڈیوسڈ best doctors in the world, all over the world. People used to call Pakistani doctors, whether it is America or Canada or UK, wherever you go, you are our pride. You are our pride. اپنے لیے تو تالی بجا لیں. اپنا نام کا ایک ادارہ بھی ہے امریکہ میں, اس نے بھی کافی پاکستان کا نام روشن کیا. جہاں ہم سیاستدان نام خراب کر دیتے ہیں, آپ نام روشن کرتے ہیں, اس لیے آپ کو پرائڈ جاتا ہے. پھر میں نے یہ بھی دیکھا کہ طب کے شعبے سے لوگ بہت سنجیدہ لوگ ہوتے ہیں, معاشرے میں ڈسپلنڈ کے لوگ ہوتے ہیں. اور میں امید کرتا ہوں کہ اگلے 2 دنوں میں 3 دنوں میں جو کچھ ہونے جا رہا ہے وہ آنے والی نسلوں کے لیے, دوز ہو آر رائٹ ناؤ اسٹوڈنٹس اور اسٹڈنگ, سم ون از ڈوئنگ ہز FCPS. مجھے بھی پتہ چلا کہ یہ فرجال کو میں سمجھتا تھا ابھی بہت ینگ سا بچہ ہے, ڈاکٹر بنا ہے ابھی. But I came to know that he is the HOD, head of department. ماشاءاللہ آپ کے لیے بھی, ینگ بچوں کے لیے بھی تالی ہونی چاہیے. And I found Dr. Talal is also young man, یہیں کہیں پہ ہیں, اور وہ بھی, ان کی بھی پرفارمنس بہت اچھی. میں ان کے بارے میں پتہ کیا تو پتہ چلا کہ ویری آؤٹ اسٹینڈنگ پلیئر ہیں وہ بھی. اور پھر میں ڈاکٹر صاحب, دونوں ڈاکٹر صاحبان سے پوچھ رہا تھا کہ یہ بتائیے کہ آپ اس عمر میں کیوں دیتے ہیں ایوارڈ کے اصل حقدار تو فرجال اور طلال جیسے ینگ ڈاکٹرز کو ہونا چاہیے تاکہ انسپائر ہوں یہ زیادہ. آپ جاتے جاتے دے رہے ہیں, اب میں اس سے آگے نہیں کہنا چاہتا ہوں. اب وہ بیچارے کیا کریں اس شیلڈ کا یا جو بھی ایوارڈ آپ دے رہے ہیں, لائف ٹائم اچیومنٹ, وہ بیچارہ تو اب بیچارہ نہیں, سوری حامد صاحب, نہیں میں معافی چاہتا ہوں آپ سے, ابھی تو آپ جوان ہیں. بلکہ میں نے ڈاکٹر دوسرے ہیں, کیا نام تھا ان کا, صاحب سلمان صاحب کو تو کہا اتنے ینگ ہیں کہ آپ دوسری, باقی اسٹاپ کر رہا ہوں میں, اس کے لیے بھی آپ فٹ ہیں. تو میں یہ کہنا چاہتا ہوں کہ آئندہ ذرا غور فکر کیجئے کہ مجھے یاد ہے کہ جب ہم اسٹرگل کر رہے تھے ایز اے پولیٹیکل ورکر اور ایز اے ہیومن رائٹ ایکٹیوسٹ, تو ہمیں کوئی بلاتا بھی نہیں تھا. پھر میں بن گیا ایڈوائزر اتفاق سے, تو ہر پروگرام میں مجھے بلایا جانے لگا. میں نے ضیاء عوان سے پوچھا یہ ہمیں روز روز کیوں بلاتے ہیں؟ تو اس نے کہا یار تو ہیومن رائٹ کا ایڈوائزر ہے, ہم لازمی پرچہ ہیں, ٹی وی نہیں آتا ہے تمہارے بغیر. پی ٹی وی اس زمانے میں صرف پی ٹی وی ہوا کرتا تھا, تو جس فنکشن میں مجھے بلاتے تھے وہاں پہ لائف ٹائم چل جاتا تھا وہ ٹی وی. تو میں نے ایک جگہ گیا اور میں تھوڑا جذباتی بھی, میں نے کہا استاد تب آپ لوگوں نے نہیں بلایا جب مجھے ضرورت تھی, اب جب میں خود ہی رگڑ کے کچھ بن گیا ہوں تو اب آپ مجھے بلا رہے ہیں, تو میں جا کے یہاں سامنے بیٹھ رہا ہوں, مجھے اب آپ کے ایوارڈ کی ضرورت نہیں ہے. تو یہ نہ ہو کہ طلال صاحب اور فرجال صاحب جیسے ینگ اسٹرس جو ہیں وہ کسی دن کہہ دیں اب آپ کے ایوارڈ کی مجھے ضرورت نہیں ہے, آپ انہی کو دیں جس کو دیتے تھے. اس پہ بجاؤ یار, تمہارے لیے باتیں کر رہا ہوں. ابھی ایک لفظ ہوا ہے طلال صاحب, آپ کی بات کر رہا ہوں, آپ تھینک یو کر رہے ہیں یار. ایسا وکیل فری میں کہاں سے ملے گا آپ کو؟ ٹیپو بھائی نے تو مجھے کچھ اور پٹی پڑھائی تھی، اور جو کچھ پڑھایا، اور میں نے ان سے پوچھا بھی کہ مجھے بولنا کیا چاہیے. انہوں نے کہا 2 days فنکشن ہے، سیشنز ہوں گے، بہت ایکیڈمک باتیں ہوں گی، اور یہ پاکستان سوسائٹی فار اینستھیسیا جو ہے یہ بہت کام کر رہی ہے، اور مجھے بھی یقین ہے کہ بہت کام کر رہی ہے. اور میں تھوڑا آدھا ڈاکٹر میں بھی ہوں، کیونکہ میری ہاف جو پورشن ہے، میری اہلیہ بھی ایک ڈاکٹر ہے. تو اچھا، اس سے مجھے یہ فائدہ ہوا کہ آج تک کسی دوائی کا نام یاد نہیں ہوا ہے مجھے. جس چیز کی ضرورت ہوتی وہ آ کے پکڑا دیتی ہیں، ویسے آپ کو بخار ہے، یا آپ کا سینہ ٹھیک نہیں، یا آپ کی آئی سائٹ ذرا کمزور لگ رہی ہے. تو یہ بڑا فائدہ ہوا ہے. تو آدھا ڈاکٹر میں ہوں. اصولی طور پہ آپ آدھا ملا کر کے مجھے بھی ایک ایوارڈ دینا چاہیے تھا، لائف ٹائم اچیومنٹ ایوارڈ، کہ ایک ڈاکٹر کے ساتھ میں نے گزار دیا. پھر میں آپ لوگوں سے آخر میں گزارش کروں گا کہ جو ڈاکٹر امجد صاحب نے بات کی ہے وہ بڑی سیریس چیز ہے. اور ڈاکٹر صاحب ریسٹ ایشورڈ آئی ول ٹیک یور میٹر ٹو دا کنسرن کوارٹرز اینڈ آئی ڈو انڈورس یور فیلنگس اینڈ تھاٹس. کہ جب ایک آدمی 60s پہ پہنچتا ہے تو اس کو 2 وجہ سے بہت ضرورت ہوتی ہے کنٹینیوٹی آف ہز سروس، بیکاز دا چلڈرنز آر گیٹنگ ریزنگ ڈے بائی ڈے. ان کے بڑے اخراجات ہوتے ہیں، ہائر ایجوکیشن کی طرف جاتے ہیں، ان کے بچوں کی شادیوں کا ایج آ جاتا ہے. اور ایسے ٹائم پہ آپ ایک آدمی کو بلائے کہتے ہیں تھینک یو ویری مچ، یور سروسز آر نو مور ریکوائرڈ. اور وہ اس وقت آلموسٹ اپنے ہیلتھ کے ویسے جوان ہوتا ہے، اور وہ پھر بہت ہی ڈس اپوائنٹ ہو جاتا ہے جب اس کو ایٹ دا ایج آف 60 کہہ دیتے تھینک یو ویری مچ، یور سروسز آر نو مور ریکوائرڈ. اس کو ایک جھٹکا سا لگتا ہے کہ ویدر آئی ایم فٹ اور آئی ایم انفٹ. اور پھر ہم محسوس کرتے ہیں واٹ وی ہیو اسپینڈیڈ آن یو ایز اے نیشن، ایز اے میڈیکل پریکٹیشنر. یور کالج ہیز اسپینڈ لاٹ، یور ٹیچرز ہیز اسپینڈ لاٹ آن یو. جو بھی ہم ینگس کو کہنا چاہتے ہیں. اور اس کے ریٹرن کا جب ٹائم آتا ہے، اور وہ جب تناور درخت بنتا ہے ایٹ دا ایج آف 60، اور اس وقت جب ہم ریٹائر کرتے ہیں بڑی زیادتی کرتے ہیں، بیکاز بائی دیٹ ٹائم مجھے نہیں لگتا کہ ہم ٹرانسفر کر پاتے ہیں کہ نہیں کر پاتے ہیں اپنے جو تجربات ہیں، اپنی جو نالج ہے. تو میں سمجھتا ہوں کہ جس طرح سے پرائیویٹ سیکٹر میں اس کو 75 کیا ہے، میں بہت وداؤٹ اینی فی، وکیل پیسے لیے بغیر کام نہیں کرتا، ڈاکٹر تو پھر بھی کر دیتا ہے. میں آپ کے اس کیس کو پہلی فرصت میں جو کنسرن کوارٹرز ہیں، PMDC کو بھی ریفر کروں گا، اور جو سندھ کے ہیلتھ ڈپارٹمنٹ ہے اس کو بھی. اینڈ آئی ول ٹاک ٹو دا فیڈرل منسٹر آف ایجوکیشن ہیلتھ، ان سے بھی بات کروں گا کہ اس چیز کو فوری طور پہ اس سے توجہ دی جائے، تاکہ جو ہماری ایک ایسٹ ہیں، آپ سب ہمارے ایسٹس ہیں، کمپلیٹ ایسٹ ہیں. ایک مایہ ڈاکٹر جس نے 30-35 سال دیا ہو اپنی قوم کو، اپنے پیشنٹس کو، اپنے پیشے کو، اس کو اس طرح سے ضائع نہیں ہونا چاہیے. میں تو 65 سے بھی آگے 70 پہ جانے کو تیار ہوں، اگر فزیکلی وہ فٹ ہیں. پوری دنیا میں یہ ہوتا ہے کہ ایون اگر ہمارے یہاں پرائیویٹ سیکٹر میں ہو رہا ہے تو یہ ہونا چاہیے. اور میں ٹیو بھائی آپ سے، ڈاکٹر صاحب آپ سے بھی گزارش کروں گا کہ آپ اپنے اس کانفرنس میں بھی جو آپ کے سیشنز ہیں، آل دو اٹ از سائنس بیسڈ سیشن، مجھے پتہ ہے کہ آپ بڑی تحقیقاتی بات کر رہے ہوں گے. لاہور سے بھی ڈگنیٹریز آئے ہیں، حیدرآباد سے بھی آئے ہیں، ملتان سے بھی آئے ہیں، ان سب کو میں خوش آمدید کہتا ہوں. اس میں بھی آپ اپنا پروپوزلس ڈالیں کہ 60 ایئرز از ٹو ارلی. اب پاکستان میں اللہ کے فضل سے جو لوگوں کی عمر ہے اس کی وہ زیادہ ہو گئی ہے. انہی الفاظ کے ساتھ بی ابھی ایک الفاظ باقی ہے. آپ نے وکیل کو چھیڑا ہے تو گھنٹہ گزار دوں گا میں، مگر چھوڑوں گا نہیں روسٹم. مگر چونکہ میری بھی کچھ ذمہ داری ہے، میری فیملی کے کافی لوگ بیٹھے ہوئے ہیں، میرے ارد گرد دونوں جو بیٹھے ہوئے تھے ان کا میرا بڑا گہرا رشتہ ہے، قربت کا رشتہ ہے. ڈاکٹر طلعت سامنے بیٹھی ہوئی ہیں جو بھابھی بھی ہیں ہماری. ٹیپو بھائی از اے مینٹور آف not only for me but for many doctors. جیسا ابھی ڈاکٹر امجد صاحب نے کہا، اللہ تعالیٰ آپ لوگوں کے اس سوسائٹی میں خیر و برکت دے. جو میرے لائق ہے میں ضرور کروں گا. تمام خواتین و حضرات اور جو سامنے بیٹھے ہوئے نوجوان ہیں، سلامت رہیں، خوش رہیں، آباد رہیں اور اسی طرح قوم کی خدمت کرتے رہیں. بہت بہت شکریہ.
Sir, thank you for honoring this gathering with your presence, and to honor that, I would like to call upon the stage Dr. Syed Tipu Sultan to present the shield to the guest of honor, to the chief guest, Mr. Nihal Hashmi. Thank you, sir. So it is time to call upon the stage our keynote speaker for today, Dr. Gohar Afshan. Dr. Gohar Afshan professionally is a professor and she is a pain physician at the Aga Khan University, section head of the pain management program. And personally, she is known for her unmatched kindness and grace. Over to you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you very much, PSA. Thank you very much, organizing committee. Thank you very much, Dr. Azhar, especially the scientific committee, to giving me this opportunity. This is indeed an honor to deliver this talk on PSA. Very gracious evening. That is, honor for me. So the topic is, according to the theme of the conference, is the bridging the gap, translating global guidelines into local practice. So nothing to declare, except I'm involved in 2 guidelines committee. That's my responsibility. So I'm starting my talk with this picture. And this picture actually shows the contrast of 2 things. One is about the local reality, how the majority of the people lives in lower and middle income countries. And the other picture, other part of the picture shows that how the people, the different organizations, and the global health leaders, they are talking about the way forward for these people who are living in the LMIC. But this is really a contrast. So if I just want to make a problem statement for this talk, so I thought a lot about that, how to start with this, talk. So I thought that if I make it as a global to local disconnect, I think this is the best part to explain in this picture. We have been, since we are practicing in Pakistan, we are very actively involved in the PSA. We all the time talking about the evidence-based practice, international guidelines. And we also know that the international guidelines on evidence-based guidelines, they are designed to improve patient outcome. They try to enhance the standardized care to every patient. And they reduce the variability in the clinical practice. So majority of the people in one country, in one region, in one hospital, they try to be a standard care of treatment. But unfortunately, the global guidelines, they fail to achieve their intended impact in lower and middle income countries. We have a very nicely written, guidelines, but unfortunately, if you see the local reality, they cannot be implemented. So again, if you see the global approach, especially the global leaders, health leaders who are working in WHO and NIH and all these things, they're talking about the universal access, the equitable impact, equitable care to everyone. These type of slogans we have been hearing. So if you see that this kind of a gathering, they must know that if you are practicing here in Pakistan, we know there are so many challenges to implement these kind of a guidelines. And challenging start from one of the major things, that is the resource constraint. And we all the time we're talking about. Then the healthcare variability. Unfortunately in Pakistan, there is not universal, because every province has a different healthcare setup. Every province governance of the health is different. So there's so much healthcare variability in Pakistan. Increasing corruption in our system is one of the issue, and then the lack of accountability. And all these things are peculiar to the lower and middle income countries. Then contextual mismatch. Again, this is a very, very important factor, especially people practicing here. And whenever we talk about any new thing and new practice standards, we always find too many implementation barriers. And the last but not the least, equity gap. So even in Pakistan, in the lower middle income countries, there are setups where the people can achieve the healthcare just like they can achieve healthcare in America and England, but in the same country, the people are struggling to get a basic thing. So this equity gap is also the peculiar feature of the Pakistan. So the global guidelines, if we're talking about, they may look very strong on papers, but implementation often fails because of the local reality, infrastructures, staffing, culture, and access challenges are not fully understood. So the guideline design, I'm talking about the international guideline design, they're far away from the services provided to our community, that is the local reality. And I'm very, very, very glad that this time the PSA, they choose this theme, that is the global standards and local solution. This is very, very pertinent because nowadays a lot of, organizations, including the WHO, they are talking about how can we improve the patient care in spite of the local constraints, especially the financial constraints. If you see the 400 people, they are living in this area of the lower middle income countries, and the many WHO guidelines, they required adaptation because implementation capacity varies, so we cannot say that they go and adopt the guidelines. And according to a recent survey, the WHO related analysis of 123 WHO guidelines, they said the implementation strategies were frequently passive. So they are available guidelines, but they cannot be implemented. And the local adaptation guidelines are often insufficient. So remember, the majority of the global guidelines are developed in international bigger societies and higher income countries, American Society of Anesthesiologists, and these kind of association where the finances they are very, very different from the lower and middle income countries. If you see the Pakistan, the reality, we have a shortage of trained anesthesiologists, we have a frequent shortage of anesthesia medications, we have a limited monitoring and the critical care infrastructures, high surgical burden with overcrowded, especially we are talking about public hospitals, as so many, patients are on a waiting, and unequal access between the urban and the rural hospitals. So these kind of too many variability. And this is a paper that was published by our Pakistani colleagues, and it was a survey, and that is actually trying to see what is the access to safe, timely and affordable surgical anesthesia and obstetric care in Pakistan, and this was a 16-year scoping review. And this survey shows that very, very important because most of the people of the Pakistani, anesthesiologists and some of the gynecologists, obstetricians and surgeons are there. They found that Pakistan remains limited due to gaps in the workforce, infrastructure, financing and service delivery. Again, one of the very interesting paper that was published in Pakistan, and Dr. Fawzia is not here, but this is again a very, very important, very interesting paper, and that shows nationwide survey in Pakistan shows that the 50% of anesthesiologists, they experience anesthesia drugs shortages. 57% reported using inferior alternatives, that is we don't have a standard medications, so we try to see the alternatives, and some clinicians observe the majority of the morbidity and mortality they are because of these non-availability of the shortages. So certainly the challenges is not whether the global guidelines are correct, but challenge is that the global guidelines which are available, they are not feasible, they are not affordable, we cannot sustain, and equitable and implementation is a issue. So the first question that comes, especially this platform, the PSA, for safe anesthesia in Pakistan, should Pakistan simply adopt global anesthesia guidelines or adapt and contextualize them? So I think majority of people sitting here, they know what is the adaptation and adoption, but junior colleagues are there, so for them, I just want to simply identify what is the adaptation and what is practicing anesthesia, certainly they said that we actually want to adapt and contextualize them, then we can only implement these guidelines. So how can we global anesthesia guidelines be adapted? The guidelines is available and now we want to make modified, so how can we do that? So interesting thing is that again the WHO give a very nice manual or stepwise process. If the guidelines is available and you want to adapt in your institution, in your country, in your city, in your organization, then there are steps that you have to follow, and then you can change the guidelines, that is existing guidelines, to adopt according to your circumstances. This is fortunately, I also published one of the article, and this was the most recent publication of my last year, where I also talk about how we can adapt guidelines if the existing guidelines are available, which actually designed in the high-income countries, and really we want to make it applicable, we'll make it sustainable, we'll make it implementable, so what we can do that. And this is again a very simple way I try to explain in this paper. So the first step, I'm very briefly, I will to define what is the minimum essential standards, that is a core requirement no matter where the anesthesia is delivered. Anesthesia is delivered in Karachi, the public service hospital, the private hospital, or maybe in the interiors and whatever. And then optimal standard where we can think that these standards can be advanced if the finances or the facilities are available. So this is the first step. Then we have to consider that. Now, for example, if you think that the minimum standard, then this is just like example that the pulse oximetry, the blood pressure monitoring, the reliable oxygen supply, they have to be there no matter where the anesthesia is delivered. However, I added the implementation of WHO surgical safety checklist, and because the safety ensure is one of the very, very important aspect of the guidelines. And if you think that this surgical safety checklist required any finances or a very, training or qualification, no, nothing. It's just a very simple checklist and anybody can apply in any type of hospital, no finances is required. I'm not going to going to detail of these guidelines, but what I'm trying to say that this is no excuse that we cannot do this safety checklist because the cost is not involved and it's simple to implement and doing that. So once you said that minimum standard, then what the second step we can do that? Again, because in Pakistan, not all centers are, the low resource. There are some centers where the resources are available, the tertiary care center is available. So we can identify the guidelines applicable to the tertiary care center or level 1 or the guidelines applicable to the secondary hospital. So these modifications actually only can make the guidelines applicable. The third step is to engaging all stakeholders. Whenever you want to change the guidelines, adapt for the purpose of adaptation, and you want to modify the guidelines, always involve the pertinent surgical field surgeons, or maybe if you're changing the obstetric guidelines and some of the obstetrician. And because if you want to implement them in Pakistan or in your institution or your own country or your organization, this is important that you engage all of them. Certainly the hospital leadership is involved and the public health professional like epidemiologists, then certainly these guidelines weight will be more. Fourth step, whenever you finalize the guidelines, again see the workforce, because you have to address, in every guidelines in Pakistan, you have to address the shortage of anesthesiologists, high patient volume, and the variable training levels in Pakistan. So whenever you try to modify the guidelines, these are the last step. You will see we don't have much qualified anesthesiologists, the high patient volume will be there, and the variable training levels. Fifth step, that again you have to see the drugs availability and the equipment availability. So after the workforce, you will see that these guidelines, if I am recommending these medications, are they available in Pakistan? So again, the drugs and equipment availability you have to see at the last steps. And the fifth steps and the last steps is very, very important, is that use the implementation size. Whatever you make the guidelines, you have to promote. And recently in one of our meetings, I think Dr. Fazal is sitting here, some of the guidelines we were talking about, Dr. Fazal said, we don't know that in Pakistan we have to modify. So the implementation size is very important. If you publish the guidelines but you do not disseminate, then these guidelines is not worth it. So we have to finalize the guidelines, and then aapko elan karna hai, public that these guidelines are available, they are simple guidelines and can be applicable. This last step is very, very important. Again, here I would like to very clearly emphasize that when we adapt the guidelines, when we modify the guidelines, it doesn't mean that we are lowering the standard of care. No, not at all. But actually we want to make a safe anesthesia standards which are achievable, which are implementable. And this is important if you are talking about practicing in Pakistan. So we are not lowering the standard, we just want to make sure. And this is the bridging the gap between the global standard that are available, and if the local realities we have, then we can change the guidelines according to ground realities so that it can be made practical, the context sensitive, and the resource appropriate. So the safe anesthesia in Pakistan requires more than importing the international. This is important. Importing the international standard, no. We have to actually translate, modify, whatever word you want to use, into the context sensitive and the resource appropriate practice. Here I would just give us some examples. Recently we modified to adapt the guidelines, one from American Society of Anesthesiologists. We changed to, in our circumstances, acute pain, we have to change. Similarly, we also modified the guidelines for institution, is about, again, the American Family Physician Doctors guidelines for how to manage the low back pain. Also remember that during the COVID time, we published 2 guidelines because we are really, struggling how to run pain clinics and about the airways. 2 things are, so we published 2 guidelines with the help of CPSP, and one is about how to manage pain management in cancer during the COVID. This is again a very nice, simple guidelines, and one guidelines with the PSA in association is about airway management. So these are the local examples. Then how we adapt guidelines according to the need and the local realities to make sure that these guidelines are implemented. Here I don't want to stop here. I really want that the scientific committee, the patron society, PSA Karachi, Dr. Saida, and Tipu Saab Patron Society Central, then we have to do something, and I have some suggestion to take forward this agenda in a way. So first step, I would really suggest that we have to develop the Pakistan Adapted Anesthesia Guidelines Committee. And I think you, in the proceeding of the conference, you must do that, because this is not a very, hi-fi thing. 4 or 5 steps sitting together, the tertiary care and secondary care and the rural and urban doctors sitting together, and then we can define the minimum standards and things like that. I also encourage that we have to foster a culture of safety. How we can do that? Often मैं सुनती हूँ Dr. Tipu say, the Sindh public or whatever, जहाँ पे cases आते हैं, morbidity, mortality. So we have to make some, design where the person report to us rather than, to the government. So accountability process, so that we can ensure the safety and culture, because these guidelines are attached with the safety and, teamwork culture. And then we have this we often do that, the public and patient awareness, how this is important. Then we also strengthen the rural workforce support. We know that the rural workforce support needs needs training, and I think this is the right time. Then we have to start a small module for simulation based training for rural areas, because now we have 2 or 3 centers where the simulation facilities are available, so we can make modules. And certainly, last but not the least, we have to collect our own data. So local data, local research is important. Maybe down the road 10 years, we can make our own guidelines. Currently, we are just suggesting to modify guidelines, adapting guidelines, because we cannot adopt the guidelines available, but future may do that. So I believe that together these measures, we can help Pakistan build an anesthesia system that not only align with the international standards, but also practical and adaptable across the diverse healthcare, making safe surgery a right, not a privilege. Remember, one-size-fits-all guidelines are rarely effective, so we have to do something. And here I'm closing my talk on this picture, which is very, very relevant to understand what I want to see. The guidelines are the compass, not the chain. So we have to do, how can we implement guidelines after modifying the guidelines from this platform? And I think this is not a big deal. If we have a will, then we can make 2 or 3 guidelines, important guidelines for our own people, for a safe conduct of anesthesia. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gohar Afshar, for such an insightful and thought-provoking keynote address. To present the certificate, I would like to call upon the stage Dr. Saida Haider. Ma'am, can you please join us? Please give a big round of applause to Dr. Gohar Afshar for such a great keynote address. Get through enough.
Thank you, everyone. Now I would like to request Dr. Saida Haider to present the certificate to Dr. Mariam. Done, no? Okay, thank you. We are done for the evening, ladies and gentlemen. Please, you can enjoy the dinner at the back. I would request the senior. Oh, thank you so much. And as a word of thanks, as a General Secretary, we would like to conclude the opening ceremony of the 44th Annual Conference of Pakistan Society of Anesthesiologists. Thank you all for the gracious presence and participation. We hope the conference ahead brings meaningful academic discussions, professional growth, and valuable collaborations. Please join us for the dinner. Have a wonderful evening. I would request the seniors to please stay back and head to the right side of the hall, please.